What's up everybody, Chris here from Bold Canyon Outdoors, and we just got the last piece in the package for the install in the BCO Tundra from Nexbase. So we've got the Nexbase 422 dash cam and we've got the Hardwire kit. So we're going to go ahead and get that installed in the Tundra. So we're doing this so we don't have to have the camera plugged into the cigarette lighter or anything like that. Nexbase has a really comprehensive dash cam hardwire kit, so you can hide all the wires. It gets hooked up directly, so when you start the car it turns on automatically. So let's take a look and see what's inside this box. Alright, so we've got instruction manual here. We've got a small bag here that has 2 fuse taps in it, and what those are is those allow you to run power with a built-in fuse, and it plugs directly into your fuse box. One thing I love about the Nexbase kit is it comes with both sizes of fuse taps. Hopefully that'll focus so you can see it, but you've got the smaller size here and the bigger size here. So you've got 2 different size fuse plugs for the fuse taps. We're only going to need one in this installation.
If you've never used a fuse tap before, it essentially adds another slot to your fuse box if you don't have an extra accessory slot. This allows you to run a second fuse and keep the existing fuse.
This is one of the ferrite noise reducers, so just in case you get any radio noise or anything like that from it, you can put these on it. And of course we've got our main power supply wire. So you have a nice long wire here, so you can go through the firewall, up the A-pillar, across into the headliner and down to the camera. And of course this is your positive and negative plugs for your battery. So these are what we're going to install first. So let's head out to the garage. Okay, so the good news is the Tundra is a little different than the Jeep. So I'm going to be able to use one of my fuse taps underneath here in the interior fuse panel. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, oh gosh, it's about the 6th one back here, and we're going to use the fuse tap in there, which is going to be to the power supply that we plug our phones into, and that is a switched power, so we're going to put that in. All right. Bear with me here. It's a tight squeeze, but we're going to pull out.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to add a couple of still shots here. This is the actual fuse panel on the interior of a 2019 Toyota Tundra, and we marked which fuse we pulled out, which is for accessory number 2. The second photo is the little map that comes on the cap of the fuse panel, and I marked which fuse we took out again. Now keep in mind, the factory Toyota fuses have a little plastic sheath on them, making them impossible to use with the fuse tap. So we ended up buying an auto parts store one. I'll mark that here in a second.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This little 15 amp fuse right here, nice and gently. All right. What I did is I pulled out this little 15 amp fuse here, and that's for...
Notice the factory Toyota fuse does not have protruding blades like a standard fuse does.
Power outlet socket number 2, which is where we plug our phones in. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this little guy and we're going to plug it in right here. So this fuse here is a little 2 amp fuse that's going to run power to the dash cam. So the 15 amp fuse goes back in.
And this is where we replace the Toyota fuse with an auto parts store fuse.
This whole thing plugs in its place. We'll get that plugged in and we'll go from there. All right, excuse the beeping, but I've got the tap in up there. And if I take my key and I turn it to ignition, go down to my little generic battery tester here, you see, we have power. All right, so next up we're going to route the actual power cable for the camera. Now you can see I've got a mount up there. It was a spare mount from the 522 from the Jeep when we used to have to switch cameras back and forth for different footage. Now it sits up really high on the window, and as you can see as I go up here, the visor gets in the way. So it actually does not work real well with the cabin view camera. So I'm actually going to lower the mount a little bit. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this cable and I'm going to go in the same little pocket as the wires for the rearview mirror, up here, all the way along the headliner, down the A-pillar, and down underneath, so it's nice and hidden. So we'll go ahead and get that done. I ran the cable right next to the A-pillar. I was able to shove it in right down here and go beside the dash plastic, pop off this panel, and it comes in right here. So I can actually pull it back and forth to adjust the length. Now eventually what I'm going to do is I'm going to shove it in right down. Sorry about the camera. I'm going to push this out of the way, and it's going to shove right down in here and go up the inside of the A-pillar and across the headliner. So we'll get that in and get some length adjusted. Here's the cable. It's going to go up the A-pillar, across the headliner, and down inside this little pocket. So I've got it down the side here, and then it's just a matter of tucking it in along the pillar, which you should be able to just squeeze it right into place. We're going to go all the way around the front. So it's going to go all the way up like this and over. Let's see if I can jump in. I do have a tool for this. I suppose I could go get it. It's the easy way. But it just takes a little bit of patience and squeezing stuff through these tiny little holes. See, it just drops down in there. But this is going to go all the way up and over. Now you can see I don't have quite enough length, which is fine because I made sure to leave it so I could pull extra length through and adjust the length on it. Like so. With a little extra length, you can always tuck it up into the headliner. So we got some extra length on it there. So now we're going to go over, up, and down. All right, we'll get that back in. Go get my tool to push this in up here. Sorry about that. I hit stop instead of go, but I just used my little plastic pusher and I ran the cable all the way up here. We've tucked it into this little channel. So now it's just sticking out right here. So I think the camera's probably going to go right down in this area here. So the cable is just the right length. All right, next up, we'll finish hooking up the power underneath and we're all done. All right, so you can see I've got my power coming from my fuse panel right here for keyed power. And here are the positive and negative wires coming from the dash cam. So the red is going to plug right in here. I left this panel undone, and I'm actually going to loosen this ground right here and use that for this spade. So I'm going to go and I'm going to put a little bit bigger spade connector on there, and I'm going to put it right on this ground. That way I can tuck all this wiring nicely behind this panel, snap it in, and we're good to go. Yep, that is going to work just fine. So I'm going to take my negative and I'm simply just going to cut this one off because it's a spade, don't need a spade. Going to add this ring on. I just like to twist the wire, fold it back over itself. So it always gets a positive grip inside the crimp. Just a habit I've always had. Crimp that guy on nice and tight, and this is going to go this 10mm right here. Branch off. We'll just gently thread that back into all of the other grounds that it's holding in place. Okay, so now I just need to tuck all this wire in. First, we're going to run this power up over the top, the positive, so I know where it is. Put that there. And you know what I'm going to do is, this little blue box is an indicator of whether or not the camera's working and power's working. It's got a little blinking light on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it in, turn it on, go get the camera, and we'll make sure that the electrical connection is working fine. Cable runs up out of the way. Now, like I said, I've got the 522 on right here. I'm going to put the 422 on, and then we're going to go through all the features. And I'm probably going to pick a lower mounting spot so I have room for that cabin view camera. But that is the hardwire install for the Nexbase camera system. Super clean, everything's out of the way. Works when you turn the key on and you're good to go. Nice clean install with the Nexbase Hardwire Kit. I'm gonna put some links down below on where you can get the Hardwire Kit and the Nexbase cameras. Be on the lookout. Our next video is gonna be all about the Nexbase 422 that we're gonna be putting in the BCO Adventure Tundra. Thanks for tagging along with us. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and ring that bell for more videos that are coming out shortly with cool adventures, awesome gear, and other neat stuff from Bull Canyon Outdoors. So for Nexbase Camera and Bull Canyon Outdoors, this is Chris signing off. Happy trails, everybody.